is figure out right and left, back and front. Okay, you have to get that right, or else,
Or we're done.
or you're just done. Just hang it up. Okay, so front of the heart. What you're going to look for is this diagonal line here. See it? That is the interventricular sulcus. Okay, that's actually a groove. And in that groove, there's a lot of coronary vessels that lie in there. And they're covered over with fat to protect them. And this down here, this point, this is the apex. The apex is the bottom of the left ventricle. All right, so now you know this is the front, and you know this is the left, and this is the right. Okay? Important, important, important. Don't get that screwed up. Okay? Then there are 4 chambers to the heart. So again, if this is the left ventricle down here, this would be the left atrium up here, or the left auricle, the top of the left atrium. Right? The flappy things. Okay, that's the top of the left. Yep. Left auricle or left atrium, either one. Okay? And then if this is the right ventricle here, this would be the right auricle or the right atrium up here. Okay, the right flappy thing. Okay? And then if we look to identify vessels, the one that's most anterior on the heart, the one that's most in the front, is the pulmonary artery. And that is actually, if you stuck your probe in here, you see it's coming down into the right ventricle. The right side of the heart gets all the oxygen poor blood coming back from the body. Okay? So when this right ventricle contracts, it's going to send blood out through that pulmonary artery. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. So it's going to carry that oxygen poor blood out through the artery, out to the lungs. Okay? So that first one right there, that's your pulmonary artery. Okay? If we look more on the top, you'll see the biggest one up here, and that's kind of hard to even...
Is that supposed to be split?
No, really.
I didn't think so.
That's the aorta. Okay, that's the largest artery in the body. All right? And if we were to stick our probe down here, you would see that that probe is coming out down in the left ventricle. Okay? We're down over here. So that the left side of the heart has the oxygen-rich blood that's come back from the lungs, right? And now when this left ventricle contracts, it's going to send that blood with a lot of force out through this great big artery, the aorta. Okay? And you see this little branch off the aorta right here? It does actually connect to the aorta. Okay, it actually is a branch right off the aorta.
And that's the...
That first branch, that's the brachiocephalic. Brachii meaning arms, right? So it's going to branch off to feed the arms and the upper body. Then the aorta continues with this kind of U-turn. It branches off again. There's more vessels going up. The parotid's going up. Then this goes down behind. The aorta goes down behind the heart and follows the spine all the way down, and it branches off to feed the rest of the organs. Okay? So if we look on the back of the heart now, this is where we're going to find... This is such a bad one, though. This is where we're going to find the vessels bringing blood back to the heart. Maybe. Been looking all night for a good one, and I still haven't found one. See, they're all cut. All the vessels are cut on the back. Oh well, we'll do our best. Okay, if we look on the back of the heart, this is where that vena cava, the largest vein in the body, is going to bring all that oxygen poor blood back to the heart. There is an inferior vena cava, which brings blood up from below, and a superior, which drains blood from the top down. Okay? The inferior, and again, this has been all cut through here, right? If this were still connected like that, you'd have the inferior coming in here, right? And then the superior would be coming down from here. Okay, so inferior comes up from the bottom, superior would be coming down this way, all right? And they both dump all that oxygen poor blood into the upper right chamber, the right atrium. Okay? After the blood picks up all the oxygen in the lungs, we have to bring the blood back to the heart, right? That oxygen-rich blood comes back to the heart from the lungs through the pulmonary veins. Veins are bringing it back, right? And there's actually 2 main pulmonary veins that come from each lung. So if this wasn't cut quite so close here, you'd be able to see 4 little vessels entering. It's all been cut off, so I can't show you that. But you have 4 little vessels entering the left atrium. And that's bringing that oxygen-rich blood back to the left atrium here. Okay? So again, the major vessels, this is the pulmonary, this is the aorta, this is the brachiocephalic. You have your inferior and superior vena cava in the back, right? And then you'd have your pulmonary artery, your pulmonary veins coming in right here through the back of the left atrium. All right? Okay. So now if we open up our heart, again, here's the front of the heart, here's the sulcus, okay? Here's the apex, so this is the bottom of the left ventricle over here, right? Right? So I'm going to open it up. So this is the bottom of the left ventricle, okay? And once you get it open, it's easier to tell right from left because the left is so much more muscular than the right. Okay, there's a lot more myocardium here than there is here. Again, the left side has to contract and send blood out through the whole body. The right side only has to send it to the lungs. Okay? Two types of valves in the heart. There are cuspid valves, which are between the upper and lower chambers. And then there are semilunar valves, which are between the lower chambers and the vessels leading out of the heart. Okay? So if we look on our left side first, so here's our left atrium up here, right? That's going to contract, and it's going to send blood through this valve right here, and this flap of tissue right here, that's part of the valve. And this tissue up here on the wall, this is all part of the valve. This is a bicuspid valve, or a two-part valve, so it would be sort of like that in there. Okay, so it comes through. And see all these little threads here? Those are the cardae tendineae, or little tendons. And those little tendons are anchored to these big bumpy muscles in here, and right here. Those are the papillary muscles. And they anchor the valve. They anchor the tendineae so that when the heart contracts, it pulls on those tendons and that closes the valve.
That big one's the papillary?
These two big ones right here. These two big bumps right here.
Oh, on the side.
Right here. Those are two sets of papillary muscles.
Okay, so they're both papillary.
Mm-hmm. So they pull on the tendons, it closes the valve. When the heart relaxes, it releases the tension and it opens the valve. Okay? And then down here further, you can see right here, this is a nice picture. That's the trabeculae carnae, which is a big flap of muscle, extra muscle in the wall of the ventricle. Again, because it has to contract with so much force. Okay? So our stay inflated over there. Okay? So our left atrium here, if you look on the wall of the left atrium, you can also see bumpy muscles in there, right? Because that left atrium, that upper chamber has to contract. Those are the pectinate muscles. Okay, the pectinate muscles are in the wall of the atrium. Okay, so this contracts, sends the blood through that bicuspid valve to the left ventricle. The left ventricle now is going to contract and send that oxygen-rich blood out through this big artery here through the aorta, right? And there is a valve regulating flow out of the heart from the left ventricle to the aorta. And it is a semilunar valve, which is just flaps of tissue here and on this side. And those just kind of open and close and allow blood to flow from the left ventricle out through the aorta. So this is the aortic semilunar valve. Okay? Likewise on the right side, and you can't see, where's my right one? Okay, on the right side, this is my right, the smaller one, right? On the right side, this is my right atrium up here, and you can see pectinate muscle on the wall of that atria as well. That atria contracts and it's going to send blood down through another cuspid valve. This one's pretty ripped up here too, but this is what's left of a three-piece valve on the right, a tricuspid valve.
So tri's in your right, bi's in your left.
Okay, tricuspid valve on the right. And again, if you look, the ones that are still attached, the chordae tendineae are attached to these little papillary muscles here. See how much smaller they are on the right side? They don't have to pull with as much force or push with as much force. Okay, so again.
Chordae tendineae and the trabeculae carnae are on both sides, but the carnae is on the bottom and
the trabeculae carnae is on the left.
the
papillary are on the right and left because the papillary anchor the carnae, right? Or the chordae tendineae. The papillary muscles anchor the tendons. Okay. But again, on the right side, they're really small. Okay? So now that right ventricle down here is going to contract, and it's going to send that oxygen poor blood. We have to send it out through the pulmonary artery to the lungs, right? If we follow this through, we're going to come out through that pulmonary artery. But there's a valve that regulates flow out of that right ventricle as well. And it's a semilunar valve here and here. Those are the flaps of the semilunar valve. Okay? And that would be the pulmonary semilunar valve. Okay? It's the valve leading to the pulmonary. Okay? Also on the right side, you're going to see this thing that looks like a rubber band. It's been ripped for whatever reason, but it should be attached to the other side of the right ventricle, like that. That's the moderator band, and that regulates expansion and contraction, is what I'm told. Sheep have it, cows have it, we don't have it. But they always ask about the moderator band.
Okay.
Just so you know.
And numbered.
All the ones that I've seen so far, it's been cut.
Oh, I meant like it's gonna.
Oh, it'll
It's gonna have a
probably
clip
have
on it.
it'll probably have a clip on it. Yes. Yeah. Okay. You're good.